If your child was just diagnosed with a disability, or you've been living this for years and never knew what help was out there, this episode is for you. Because here's what most families don't know. The system has money, medical coverage, and real support set aside specifically for children with disabilities. Not someday, right now. But most families never tap into it, not because they don't qualify, but because nobody ever sat down and explained how it actually works. I'm Drew. This is disability.co. Let's change that.
The first thing you need to understand is that there are two completely different benefit paths for a disabled child. And which one applies to your family depends as much on the parents as it does on the child. Path A is SSI, Supplemental Security Income. This is the path for children whose disability is severe and whose family has low to moderate income. SSI is a needs-based program. In 2026, the maximum SSI payment is $994 a month for an eligible individual. Path B kicks in when a parent is already receiving SSDI, Social Security Disability Insurance. If you as a parent are on SSDI, your children can receive auxiliary or dependent benefits, and your child does not need to be disabled to get these. Non-disabled kids qualify too, as long as they're under 18, or 19 if they're still in high school. The child's benefit is up to 50% of the parent's SSDI amount each month, subject to a family maximum of roughly 150% of the parent's benefit. Here's a real example of how that works. A parent receives $2,000 a month in SSDI. The family maximum is roughly $3,000. That leaves $1,000 available for the children. One child gets $1,000. Two children split it, $500 each. The parent's benefit never gets touched. And there's a piece of Path B that can change a disabled child's entire life. Disabled Adult Child Benefits, DAC. If your child has a disability that began before age 22, they may collect SSDI benefits on your work record for the rest of their life, when you retire, when you die, or if you become disabled. Often significantly more than SSI alone. Now let's talk about the SSI income rules. When a child under 18 applies for SSI, Social Security looks at the parent's income through a process called Deeming. But not all parent income counts. Social Security excludes SNAP, TANF, SSI payments, VA pension, housing assistance, child support paid for other children, and IHSS caregiver payments. Plus, there are standard exclusions, the first $20 of unearned income, and for wages, the first $65 plus half of everything above that. The 2026 thresholds work like this: single parent, no other siblings, up to $4,101 a month in earned income, or $2,028 unearned. Two parents, no siblings, up to $5,095 earned, or $2,525 unearned. And for every additional non-disabled sibling in the home, those thresholds go up by about $497 a month. Resource limits are $2,000 for the child, plus $3,000 for two parents, $5,000 total. Your home and one vehicle don't count. The key message here is, don't self-reject. The thresholds are higher than most people think. Let Social Security run the numbers. And if you're denied because of income today, parental deeming stops completely at 18. That birthday is worth marking on your calendar. Now the medical side. There are two ways a child can medically qualify for SSI. First, the Blue Book, Social Security's official list of conditions: Down syndrome, autism spectrum disorder, cerebral palsy, muscular dystrophy, congenital heart disease, cancer, epilepsy, intellectual disability, significant vision or hearing loss. If your child's condition is listed and they meet the clinical criteria, approval is generally faster. Second, functional equivalence. Social Security evaluates the child across 6 domains: acquiring and using information, attending and completing tasks, interacting and relating with others, moving and manipulating objects, caring for yourself, and health and physical well-being. The child must have marked limitations in at least 2 of those domains, or an extreme limitation in 1. The condition must last at least 12 months. The most common mistake families make is submitting a diagnosis and assuming it's enough. Social Security doesn't approve children because of what the condition is called. They approve them based on what the child cannot do. Don't say, "My child has autism." Say, "My child cannot hold a two-way conversation, cannot complete multi-step tasks without adult support, and requires constant supervision." One is a label. The other is functional limitation. Social Security needs the second one. Get doctor letters that describe how the condition limits daily functioning. IEPs, therapy reports, teacher statements. Focus on what your child cannot do. Now let's talk about Medicaid. Most children who qualify for SSI automatically qualify for Medicaid. But even children who don't qualify for SSI may qualify for Medicaid or CHIP separately. In 2026, the median Medicaid threshold for children is around 255% of the federal poverty level, roughly $77,000 a year for a family of 4. Medicaid covers doctor visits, specialists, prescriptions, physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech therapy, mental health, dental, vision, medical equipment, and home health services. The most powerful and most overlooked piece of Medicaid is EPSDT, Early and Periodic Screening, Diagnostic, and Treatment. Under EPSDT, if your child is under 21 and on Medicaid, the state must cover any service that is medically necessary, even if it's not in the standard plan. Any medically necessary service. You can say to the doctor, "I want to make sure we're documenting this under EPSDT." That signals you know your rights and expect them to be used. The age 18 moment. Parents often treat the 18th birthday like a cliff. In reality, for many families, it's a reset, and often an upgrade. Parental deeming stops the day after the 18th birthday. Social Security only looks at your child's own income. If you were denied SSI because you earned too much, apply again right around that birthday. Social Security does a fresh evaluation. The 2026 substantial gainful activity threshold is $1,690 a month. As long as your child earns below that, they can qualify. If they still live at home and you pay for food and shelter, Social Security may reduce the benefit by up to 1/3 for in-kind support. But even 2/3 of $994 is often more than the zero they received before. 2 things that open at 18. First, ABLE accounts. As of 2026, anyone whose disability began before age 46 can open one. The annual contribution limit is $20,000. You can hold up to $100,000 in an ABLE account before it affects SSI eligibility. That money can be used for education, housing, transportation, assistive technology. It's a powerful planning tool. Second, disabled adult child benefits. If your child's disability began before age 22, they collect SSDI on your work record when you retire, become disabled, or die. For many families, this is worth far more than SSI. And a special needs trust is a legal tool that lets you hold assets for your child without those assets affecting their SSI or Medicaid. Set it up before the money arrives. Much easier that way. Here are 7 action steps. 1. Get medical documentation that describes functional limitations, not just the diagnosis. Doctor letters, IEPs, therapy reports, school records. 2. Apply for SSI even if you think income is too high. Let Social Security run the numbers. 3. If you're on SSDI, apply for dependent benefits for your child immediately if you haven't. That money is available now. 4. Ask your child's doctor about EPSDT specifically. Use those words. 5. If your child is approaching 18, mark that birthday 60 days ahead and prepare a new SSI application. 6. Research ABLE accounts and special needs trusts now, proactively, before a crisis. 7. If you've been denied, appeal. Most initial applications are denied. Reconsideration, then an ALJ hearing. That's where most families who persist win. If you were denied, that is not the end of the road. That is step 1 of the road.
I know how much is in this episode. I know it can feel like a lot. And I want to say something directly to the parents watching this. What you are doing, sitting here, learning this system, trying to figure out how to fight for your child, that matters. That is advocacy. And your child is lucky to have you doing it. The system was built for your child. The benefits, the protections, the medical coverage, they exist because lawmakers recognize that families raising children with disabilities need real support. The frustrating part is that you have to know how to find the door and how to knock on it. That's what disability.co is here for. If this episode helped you, share it with another parent who needs it. Subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. And know that every question you still have, there's an episode for that. You're not alone in this, and you've got more tools than you knew. I'm Drew. This is disability.co. Go take care of your kid.